Today I want to show you how to find your spiritual calling. And I already talked about finding your calling when it comes to your job and when it comes to your career. But today I want to take it to the next level. Today I want to also address this topic from a very spiritual point of view. And I define your spiritual calling as the spiritual place that you want to reach. You could also say that the process of finding your spiritual calling is the process that leads you to a destination that you would describe as the optimal state of being, the optimal emotional state, the optimal physical state, the optimal mental state, in which you can express your spirituality in the most authentic way. It's basically the state of absolute peace and joy. And if you are living your spiritual calling, you are no longer trapped in survival. You are no longer guided by the emotions of stress. Instead, you are living in a state where you are guided by your heart, and you are living in complete alignment with the universe and your inner being. And this state then automatically influences you and inspires you and guides you to do things that not only benefit you, but that benefit humanity. And here's how you can find and reach this state. The first step is to work on your trauma before you work on your positive emotions. Otherwise, your trauma is always blocking you. I tried it for such a long time to just think positively, just have positive thoughts. It's so easy. Other people can do it too. But I was still so depressed and trapped at a low level of consciousness. Why? Because I had never addressed my trauma. And I had a lot of trauma. I mean, I had to deal with all kinds of traumatic experiences in my life, including heart surgeries and all kinds of other things that I messed up because of my trauma. And I never really addressed it until I finally said, okay, enough is enough, because I had reached rock bottom. And I said to myself, I have to work on myself. And without working on these aspects of my life, even though it was very, very uncomfortable, but without doing that, I would have never reached a state where I can say, hey, I have found my spiritual calling and I'm living my spiritual calling, which I'm doing right now. And right now, it's very rare for me to have a bad day. It's very rare for me to even have a bad hour. I mainly feel joy, peace, and love. But a couple of months ago, and especially a couple of years ago, before I ever started working on myself and overcoming my trauma, I was constantly depressed, I was constantly moody, I was constantly angry, I was just trapped in all these negative emotions. And that's why I just want you to remember that yes, thinking positively is important, but if you don't work on your past emotions that are holding you back, on these traumatic experiences, if you don't resolve them, then you will always be trapped at this state where you will never be able to reach your true spiritual calling. And if you want to work with me on that, I'm not a therapist. However, I have dealt with my own trauma. I have overcome my own trauma. And I can also teach you a lot of strategies and techniques that therapists are using and that I use to overcome my trauma. And if you want to work with me, you can check out the link in the description and inquire for your first Skype coaching session. But of course, you can also work on it on your own. But if you do that, I just want you to keep in mind, first overcome the baggage of your past, and then you can travel freely without that baggage to your bright future where you live your spiritual calling. And I want you to realize that this is your spiritual journey and not your spiritual quick fix. Even though a lot of people use this expression and they say, I'm on a spiritual journey, but what they are doing and how they are acting is more like, I have this spiritual quick fix, and if it doesn't work today, then I will be angry and disappointed in myself, and I will say, oh, spirituality doesn't work, oh, I'm not a spiritual person, I will never find my true calling. Don't even go there. It is a journey. And that's why it was so important for me to share this first step with you when it comes to overcoming your trauma. Because if you don't realize it, that it's a journey, then you will be looking for the overnight success, for the quick fix, and you will make all the wrong choices as a result of this impatience. Because development and true growth can take time. Of course, you can speed up the process, especially when it comes to finding and living your true calling. And there's one program that helped me a lot to speed up the process, and it's called the Power Quadrant System. And if you want to find out more about this program, you can check out the link in the description. I can highly recommend it, but at the same time, I want you to keep in mind that it's a journey and it's not a quick fix. and develop a non-judgmental attitude towards the choices of other human beings. When you want to live your spiritual calling, and of course in the first step find your spiritual calling, then you have to reach a state where you can be non-judgmental, where you're no longer bothered about how other people think, act, and behave. And even though I believe that every human being has a true calling that they can express and that can empower them and also empower other people, however, not everyone has the consciousness level of seeing it and of then living it, of basically being their true calling. And you are a rare species, I have to be honest. You are one of the few people who actually say, hey, how do I find my true calling? How can I live my calling? You are one of the few people who ask themselves this important question. And you might look at some people, let's just take a drug dealer as an example, and you think he or she is a bad person. But at the same time, while doing that, you stop yourself from reaching your spiritual calling. Because always remember that every human being is on their own spiritual path, and they always act according to their level of consciousness. And the more non-judgmental you are towards others, the easier it will be for you to reach a state of peace, because you can practice acceptance. And now that we're already talking about acceptance, accept that you haven't found your true calling yet, but work towards it. Don't accept that you won't find it in your future. Because if you stay in this state of, oh, I wasted 5 years of my life, I wasted 10 years of my life, I wasted 20 years of my life, I wasted 40 years of my life, depending on how old you are and how long you're living a life that is not in alignment with your true spiritual calling. And this can be a trap, a very, very dangerous trap, because the more you live in this state of resentment towards yourself, I mean, holy moly, if you're in this state, you are trapped, or let's say you trap yourself at a low level of consciousness and at a low vibration. And that's not what you want, because you have to break free from this resentment. Otherwise you will never be able to raise your vibration, to manifest your dreams, and to live your spiritual calling. And the first step towards breaking free is to say, okay, no more of this resentment. I have to accept right now, I've lived my past like that, but at the same time, instead of resenting myself for it, I have to find a way to be grateful for it, because this past led me towards this stage right now, where I'm asking myself these important questions, such as how can I find my true calling? How can I live my true calling? That other people are not asking themselves. So you have to find a way to be thankful for the past and not to resent yourself for the past. And again, if you want me to help you with that, you can inquire for a Skype coaching session with me. And then think about what you're really passionate about, but also what you're really good at. And most of the times, those things are correlated. I mean, usually we as human beings are passionate about things that we're also good at, because otherwise we just get frustrated. But I also want you to keep in mind that I, for example, believe, and that's just my own opinion, maybe I'm completely wrong, but from my experience and from my opinion, I believe that every human being is born with a natural talent. And if you work against this natural talent, then you might reach success. But at the same time, in order to reach this success, you work hard and you suffer and you sacrifice. I experienced that with so many people from my old high school class. Because in Germany, you're basically conditioned to become an engineer. And they all studied engineering, even though they weren't good at math. And most of them dropped out. The ones who finished the studies, they never worked in their job. They wasted all this time. And take me as an example. I was never good at math. And in fact, I was even worse when it comes to geometry. I mean, if I would have become an architect, I would have killed hundreds of people already, because all my buildings would have gone vroom, 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 vroom. And I know that I would be a terrible, terrible engineer. So that's why I didn't choose this path. But you have to be honest to yourself, even though your culture might tell you, hey, choose this. I mean, I had so many Asian coaching clients who wanted to find their true calling, and their parents told them, be a doctor or be a lawyer, in the same way as Germans are conditioned, be an engineer. But that doesn't mean that you have to become this, especially if you're not talented at it, because then it will only stop you from reaching your spiritual calling. But you want to find something that guides you towards your spiritual calling. So think about what you're passionate about and what you're good at. And also think about what the world needs and how you can fulfill this need. In my opinion, especially right now during these crazy times, a lot of people are looking for answers. A lot of people need spiritual guidance, and I truly hope I can help to fulfill this need. I can help you on your spiritual path. But that doesn't mean that you have to do something every day that is linked to spirituality. Remember what I said at the beginning about your spiritual calling. As long as you are in this spiritual energy, as long as you're living your spiritual essence, you can talk about or lecture about or work on any project you want. It doesn't have to be related to spirituality itself, as long as you come from this spiritual energy. And then realize that making yourself smaller than you are doesn't serve you, and it also doesn't serve the people you want to inspire and the people you want to help. There's one poem that I love so much, and it's Our Deepest Fear by Marianne Williamson. Our deepest fear is not that we are inadequate. Our deepest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure. It is our light, not our darkness, that most frightens us. We ask ourselves, who am I to be brilliant, gorgeous, talented, fabulous? Actually, who are you not to be? Think about it. How can you help and inspire more people? By staying small or by expanding and by showing the world who you are and what you're capable of? And if you finally want to overcome these blocks that are holding you back from finding your true calling, I can highly recommend that you check out the link in the description and find out more about this powerful program, because this program helped me so much on my own journey, and I know that it can help you too, especially when you want to find your spiritual calling. And I want you to realize that your calling is not set in stone. It can change depending on the state of your life that you're in right now. Take, for example, a mother. A mother's calling might be, and it's just an example, raising her children in a way that they can then find their true calling, to do the best she can as a mother to raise her children. But what happens if this person doesn't develop, and once her children are grown and her children live their own lives, she can't let go? Then this can lead to a very negative state and a very negative attachment, because in the worst case, it can lead to a mother who can't let go and who doesn't allow her children to live their own life and to be independent. And in the same way, my calling with affirmation to manifestation might develop. At some point, I might give lectures. At some point, I might speak in front of audiences. I mean, I don't know. I allow the universe to guide me. And I also want you to allow the universe to guide you, instead of staying in this position of, hey, this is my true calling, this can't change. No, universe, I won't follow your guidance anymore. I found my true calling, this can't change. You shall not pass. Instead of following this path, I invite you to allow the universe to guide you. And then you can expand more and more and more. And continue your spiritual practices while finding your calling. And once you found your true calling. And this is another trap a lot of people fall into. When they reach a certain level of success, no matter if it's material success, if it's spiritual success, and then they get lazy because their ego tells them, come on, you've mastered it, you know everything. Always remember the line from Game of Thrones, you know nothing, Jon Snow. That's the mindset that will help you to always expand, because I promised myself that I will always be a student, I will always learn more, I will always expand. And I also work with a coach right now because I believe that every coach should have a coach, and I'm always willing to learn. In the same way, I want you, no matter if you decide to work with me as your coach or if you want to do it alone, I want you to keep learning, always keep growing. And that's how you can find your spiritual calling and live your spiritual calling. And if you now say, hey, Sebastian, I want to work with you, I want to expand, I want you to inspire me and to help me to grow, then you can check out the link in the description and find out more about Skype coaching with me. And if you enjoyed watching this video, please send out some love to the YouTube universe by giving this video a big thumbs up. And I would also appreciate it if you would leave a comment in the comment section below and let me know what you think about my video. And don't forget to subscribe to my channel and to click on the notification bell so that you get notified whenever I release a new video for you.